The council chamber of the Galactic Concord fell silent as the airlock hissed open. 23 species, representing civilizations that had conquered physics, bent reality, and traversed dimensions, turned their sensors toward the entrance. What walked through should have been impossible. She was human, young, wearing nothing but tattered clothing that had once been a child's dress, now barely recognizable after what must have been decades of wear. Her feet were bare, calloused beyond measure. Dark hair hung in matted tangles around a face that should have been soft but instead carried the weight of something ancient and terrible. The Zitharan High Chancellor rose first, his crystalline body refracting light in patterns of distress. "Impossible," his translated voice echoed. The human vessel was destroyed. "The royal family. They died 3 cycles ago." 27 years, the girl corrected, her voice hoarse from disuse. 27 years ago you declared us dead." Ambassador Kelthar of the Vryn Collective's tentacles writhed uncomfortably. Everyone remembered that day. The human diplomatic vessel, carrying Earth's first interstellar royal family to the signing of the Unity Accords, had vanished in the Void Rift, a spatial anomaly from which nothing returned. The Concord had mourned. Treaties were signed in their honor. Earth had been granted provisional membership posthumously, a symbolic gesture of respect. But Earth had refused the seat. They said they would wait. The galaxy had called it grief-driven madness. Princess Arya Keen, Matriarch Thelva spoke, her 3 voices harmonizing with barely concealed emotion. "If you are truly who you claim, then you must tell us, where have you been?" Arya's eyes swept across the assembled representatives, and several species recoiled. Those weren't the eyes of a lost child or even a traumatized survivor. They were the eyes of someone who had seen the universe's deepest secrets and returned to tell the tale. "I've been in the place you all fear to name," she said simply. "The Hollow. The space between spaces where your kind goes mad if you stay longer than a heartbeat. I was 7 years old when our ship fell through. I'm 34 now." The chamber erupted in disbelief. The Hollow was theory. Nightmare fuel for young spacefaring species. Even the eldest races spoke of it only in warnings. Nothing could survive there. It was antithetical to consciousness itself. "That's impossible," High Chancellor Zarvek insisted. "No biological organism can maintain cohesion in the Hollow for more than 27 years. 8 months and 13 days, Arya interrupted, her voice carrying an edge that made even the battle-hardened Krix warriors tense. "I counted every single rotation. Do you want to know what I learned in that place?" She stepped forward, and the most powerful beings in the galaxy unconsciously moved back. "I learned that you're all afraid. Every species here has touched the edges of the Hollow during your expansion. You've built your technology around avoiding it. Your hyperspace lanes carefully plotted to never brush against those dark spaces. You've created weapons that can crack planets, but you shiver at the thought of true emptiness." The Vryn Collective's ambassador raised a tentacle in objection, but Arya continued. "Humans don't have your dimensional sight or your quantum processors or your millennia of advancement. We're new, soft. When we fell into the Hollow, my parents—" Her voice caught for the first time. "They died within hours, the crew within days. But I was a child. My brain hadn't fully formed. And in that place something impossible happened." She raised her hand and reality rippled. Every alarm in the council chamber screamed. The impossible was occurring. She was manipulating space-time with nothing but thought. No technology, no neural interfaces. The equations the Concord's greatest minds had spent millennia trying to solve, she performed as naturally as breathing. "The Hollow doesn't kill," Arya said softly as confused mathematical patterns danced around her fingers. "It transforms. It strips away everything that makes you what you are and asks a single question: what remains? For most species, the answer is nothing. Your consciousness is so dependent on your physical forms, your technological crutches, your cultural contexts. Take those away and you cease to exist." She clenched her fist and the spatial distortions vanished. "But humans, we're stubborn. We're adaptable in ways you can't comprehend because you've spent millions of years becoming specialized, perfected. We're still raw, still changing. Put a human child in hell itself and she'll find a way to make it home." Matriarch Thelva's voices trembled. "What are you?" "I'm what I've always been," Arya replied. "A human who wants to go home. But first I came here because Earth deserves to know the truth. You didn't save them after we disappeared. You gave them pity membership and expected gratitude. You thought we'd accept being the galaxy's charity case. She walked toward the central hologram displaying the current galactic conquered map. Her finger traced the routes between stars. I know what you're thinking. This girl who survived the impossible might be dangerous. You're right. I spent almost 3 decades learning to exist in a place where thought becomes reality. I could unmake any of you before your security systems even registered a threat. The Crick's war leader's hand moved toward his weapon, then froze as Arya glanced at him. But I won't, she continued. Because despite everything, I'm still my mother's daughter. She believed in unity, in cooperation. She died bringing humanity to this table. I won't dishonor that. She turned back to face them all, and for the first time they saw the exhaustion beneath her power. The small girl who had survived something no being should endure. I'm returning to Earth. You can keep your provisional membership. Humanity will earn our place the same way every species here did, through our own merit. But know this, we're not the weak newcomers you remember. I'm not the only one who's changed. Humanity spent 27 years believing their princess and their dream of unity died in the dark. They built themselves back up alone. When they're ready, they'll return to the stars. Not as supplicants. She began walking toward the exit. Wait, High Chancellor Zarvek called out. If what you say is true, you possess knowledge that could advance civilization by millennia. Will you not share what you've learned? Arya paused at the doorway, glancing back one final time. A sad smile crossed her weathered young face. I learned that sometimes the most advanced thing a civilization can do is admit what it doesn't know. I learned that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about what you become after you're shattered. And I learned that humans might not be the oldest or the strongest or the smartest species in the galaxy. Her eyes blazed with something that made ancient species feel suddenly, profoundly young. But we're the ones who come back. The airlock sealed behind her and the council chamber remained silent for a long time. Above them, the stars continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the fact that something fundamental had just shifted in the galactic order. On Earth, they would be waiting, and Princess Arya Keen was finally going home.